the Goblin planet, the key to Planet 9. On June 30th, 2016, astronomers announced that they had discovered a new planet beyond Pluto. The announcement came after years of searching for this elusive world, which would have been impossible without NASA's New Horizons spacecraft. The new planet is currently being called the Goblin for its mysterious nature and lack of an official name yet. But does it have anything to do with the formation of planets? Can this discovery lead to the mysterious Planet 9? Our solar system's furthest reaches are dark and frigid, making exploration challenging from Earth. However, diligent studies are revealing more and more evidence for a large planet that we have yet to see. The Goblin, an incredibly remote dwarf planet, has been identified in studies that are redefining the solar system's furthest limits. Astronomers discovered the finding while looking for Planet 9, a hypothetical huge planet thought to be orbiting far beyond Pluto in the mysterious area known as the Oort Cloud. Planet 9 is yet to be directly observed, but the Goblin looks to be under the gravitational pull of a massive unseen object, giving astronomers even more reason to believe in the existence of Planet 9. We've been searching for evidence of Planet 9 since the first possibility of its existence came to light back in 1984, but we haven't found any yet. What if there are other planets like this one out there? What if they have their own moons or rings? What if they have atmospheres like our own Earth does? How might this planet be affecting life on Earth? In 1984, while making about our solar system, scientists found out that over the past 250 million years, mass extinctions had happened on Earth every 26 million. But what could cause these periodic extinction events? What might be pushing these outer objects of the solar system towards the inner solar system? Nemesis, a hypothetical red dwarf star, was hypothesized to circle the Sun at a considerable distance. The star would fling a flood of comets towards the inner solar system every 26 million years as it passed through its closest approach to the Sun. The end result? One of these comets would hit Earth, causing a global extinction. However, the evidence faded with time, and no companion star was discovered. The Nemesis theory is no longer alive. Tyche, a new Planet X, was hypothesized around the turn of the millennium. Whereas Nemesis was the bringer of death, Tyche's effect was more subtle, resulting in a modest increase in the frequency of incoming comets from specific areas of the sky, and explaining apparent anomalies in their distribution. Once again, observations soon weakened the case for Tyche. To explain the distribution of tiny, icy bodies beyond Neptune, an unknown, distant Earth mass planet was hypothesized in 2008. Other scientists speculated that planet mass objects may have developed alongside the solar system's outer planets before being spread outward but never expelled. All of this leads us to Planet X's most recent form, known as Planet 9. All of you may be surprised to know that we are still learning about our solar system. There are a lot of questions to be answered and a lot of things we do not know. We can't even answer the question, how many planets are there in the solar system? Take Pluto, for example. Pluto was classified as a dwarf planet, and there are even more dwarf planets in our solar system. In fact, the largest asteroid in our solar system, Ceres, is now classified as a dwarf planet. The Goblin is also a dwarf planet, much smaller than Pluto, about a fifth of the diameter of Pluto, and it is really very far out there. The actual name of the dwarf planet is 2015 TG388, and it was found 3 years ago by a team of astronomers using the Subaru telescope atop Mauna Kea in Hawaii. The astronomers, led by Scott Shepard of the Carnegie Institution for Science, were studying large swaths of the sky for small glimmers that may indicate the presence of new objects in the solar system. The dwarf planet is in a highly elongated orbit. The closest it ever gets is approximately twice as far away as Pluto, and the furthest it ever gets is nearly 2,300 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun. It travels way, way far out there. The orbit is so elongated that it takes 40,000 years to complete one orbit around the Sun, which is really incredible. The discovery of these faraway objects beyond the Kuiper Belt isn't surprising though. They are so distant and faint that they move incredibly slowly and are very, very hard to detect. Now, this discovery is interesting for a number of reasons, and the most interesting one of them is that there might be something larger out there, something we haven't discovered yet in our solar system. We have been noticing weird objects like the Goblin planet for quite a time now. These distant frozen planets are known as Kuiper Belt objects, and they frequently have extended orbits that bring them near to the Sun. By close, I mean roughly the orbit of Pluto, and then much farther out into the solar system. We currently know of dozens of these objects, and there are likely many more out there that we are unaware of. The intriguing thing is that we started seeing how their orbits lined up in our solar system, and there's a concept called perihelion, which is the closest pass an object makes to the Sun. And surprisingly, all of these objects scattered throughout the sky appeared to have perihelions, closest approaches to the Sun, that are perfectly aligned. Why does it matter? The thing is, there is no reason for these objects and their orbits to be aligned in such a way. If they were separate orbiting bodies, their closest approach to the Sun would not coincide. So the concept is that there is a larger body out there, someplace, like a planet, and it orbits, it lines up and shepherds all these smaller particles into its orbit. The evidence for this is rather convincing. We don't know of any other reason or theory that would explain these lined up orbits. The story of this mysterious Planet 9 started in 2003 with the discovery of another dwarf planet called Sedna. Sedna too has a highly unusual orbit, and its orbital distances fluctuated between 75 astronomical units to 936 astronomical units from the Sun. What might be causing these odd orbit fluctuations? Sedna is too far away for the planets to disturb it. They cannot be held responsible. At its most distant, Sedna is still just 1/4 the distance to the closest star, so close to the Sun that a passing star is quite likely to perform the crime. To explain the strange orbit, numerous theories propose that Sedna was placed there when the solar system was young. The Sun would have been immersed within a stellar cluster at the time, and near interactions with other stars would have been more common. If Sedna's orbit was the consequence of capture in the early days of the solar system, one may anticipate additional objects to have suffered the same fate. According to the notion, Sedna might be one of a population of sednoids orbiting in similar orbits. Several additional sednoids have been discovered in the last decade. Surprisingly, all of their orbits appeared to closely coincide in space. In other words, their orbit's long axis all point in the same general direction. This isn't what you'd anticipate from people born in the Sun's birth cluster. So what may be the reason? Several scholars use Planet 9 to explain Sedna's peculiar orbit. Now the obvious question is, where is this Planet 9? Our best estimates put it at least 3 to 6 times the mass of the Earth, something on the order of the size of the planet Neptune. So overall, this is a big planet we are talking about, and it might seem a bit embarrassing that we have missed an entire giant planet in our own solar system. With today's technology, we can detect exoplanets in distant star systems. How come we missed this planet? The thing is, if it's actually that far away from us in its orbit right now, even a large planet would appear tiny to even the most powerful telescopes. We could have missed it. It would also be traveling so slowly that we may not detect it was a planet. Perhaps others mistook it for a faraway star, so telescopes all around the world are examining the sky for any signs of an object moving extremely slowly that may be proof of this massive planet. These faraway dwarf planets like the Goblin and Sedna could help us understand what's happening at the edge of our solar system. Because the Goblin planet moves so slowly and has such a long orbital period, it took the scientists several years of observations to acquire a decent orbit. Researchers believe there are hundreds of tiny bodies like 2015 Tyche 387 on the outside of the solar system, but their distance makes locating them challenging. These faraway objects are like breadcrumbs pointing us in the direction of Planet X. The more we learn, the more we will comprehend the outer solar system and the hypothetical planet that we believe is driving their orbits, a revelation that will change our understanding of the solar system's development. Scientists did computer simulations to see how different possible Planet X orbits might impact 2015 Tyche's 387's orbit. A super-Earth mass planet in an extended orbit at several hundred AU was included in the simulations. What is particularly intriguing about this conclusion is that Planet X appears to affect the Goblin in the same manner that all other extremely distant solar system objects do. These simulations do not confirm the existence of another enormous planet in our solar system, but they do provide more evidence that something large may exist. So what do you think about this strange dwarf planet? Could there be more strange objects like this in our outer solar system? How soon can we find Planet 9? Let us know what you think in the comment section below, and share the video with your friends.